In this video, we're going to go over how to do a physical assessment and how to chart lines, drains and tubes, and talk about incision wound management. So first off, I want to talk about the physical assessment. We chart, you'll notice that the nurses chart by exception. I believe you need to follow whatever your instructor asks you to do. So if you need to chart in detail, this is where you would chart in your physical assessment. If you double click on the time, it's going to open up each section. If you right click on the time, you can change it to actual, which will show you the actual time, or you can right click on the time and insert your date and time. Anyway, either way that you do it, you need to right click on the time and then you need to double click on the time. Once you've double clicked on the time, you can go through by using the tab button and spacebar, or you can go through by using your mouse. I like to use this tab button and spacebar. I'm going to go through and I'm going to go down and hit the spacebar on everything that I say is normal. I will say that they are not arousable, or I should say that they're lethargic. And I can just put whatever I want in here. So none of this is real charting. You will need to follow whatever the instructor says, but this is how you chart your physical assessment. IU health policy is charting by exception, but school policies may be different. Now as we go through, you would go through and chart all of this, and once you're done charting, you would go hit the green check mark right here and you would sign it. You do not want to leave this section until you hit the green check mark, or you will lose all of your charting. Now something that's different in charting is lines and drains and tubes and incision and wound management. The only thing that's different is that it's mandated, or it's mandatory to put in where the line is at, or where the drain is at, or where the incision and wound is at. And that's the only thing different whenever you're charting on it. Whenever you're discontinuing, there's another piece that's different that I'll show you. So I'm going to go ahead and put in an IV. Now IVs, drains and tubes, and incisions and wounds all work the same. I would go here to what we call a dynamic group, which is this little table. When I click on that, it opens up the section for me to chart. I could say that it's in the left AC, it's closed because our catheters here are closed catheters, and then I would go down to the yellow right here under my IV line size as 20 gauge. And if you hit the letter T, it'll automatically put in today's date, and in this scenario it puts in your time as well. Once I hit OK, you will then see the familiar pieces of charting right here. If I double click on the time, I can do some charting. And once I'm done with my charting, I hit that green check mark again. Now let's say it's time for this IV to be discontinued. What I would do is I would put the date and time of discontinued, which I'm going to hit the letter T. It's going to fill it out. I'm going to sign it. Here's the thing that's different between drains and tubes, lines, and incisions and wounds. So when an incision and wound is resolved, when a drain and tube is discontinued, or when an IV has been discontinued, you must go up to the header. And when you get up to the header, you're going to right click and you're going to hit activity or inactive. And when you hit inactivate, it's going to turn it gray, and then that way no one else can chart on it. So you always want to make sure that you inactivate any wound that's been resolved, any drain or tube that's been pulled out, or any line that's been discontinued.